it's Tori, and today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions book tag. So this tag was created by the Book Archer. I will link her original video down below. This was actually a tag that was kind of going around BookTube a while back, but I'm new and I wanted to do a book tag, and I feel like there haven't been very many book tags recently. I think it's kind of going out of fashion, but I like them. I'm going to make one, so there. So we'll just get right into the questions, I guess. The first question is, what is a book that everybody else loved but you hated? For this one, I'm going with The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This one I was really looking forward to reading. However, I picked it up. It had a trope I really didn't like, and the main character drove me absolutely crazy. The romance was part of the trope that I didn't like. So I felt like it was an interesting premise. If you don't know, it essentially follows this futuristic world, this dystopian world wherein something happened and there are people who are like psychics, different types of psychics, and these people are being hunted. Anyway, the main character is a very rare type of psychic, so she is very much wanted. Anyway, it just sounded really cool and interesting. I just didn't love it. A lot of people did, but I just didn't. The next question is a book that no one else liked but you loved. And for this one, I had a hard time coming up with books for this one because I haven't honestly read that many super popular books on BookTube. I mean, I've read a few. Most of the ones I've read are books that a lot of people like. And so it was just hard for me to pick one, but I ended up deciding on The Actor and the Housewife by Shannon Hale. I mentioned this in a previous video when I talked about Shannon Hale. When I was looking online after I finished this, a lot of people didn't like this, and I think part of the reason is because the main character is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and people just can't connect with that and don't understand the culture behind it, and so they're not able to connect with it as well. Plus, it may seem kind of slow and choppy because it's covering 10 years of time within just like 300 pages. I mean, these pages are big and have tiny writing, but so it takes a while to read. But like, it's 10 years, but it's only really following her friendship with Felix. It's not really following the rest of her life. It even mentions a few times that this isn't her life. If we were just following Becky's life, we would talk more about taking carpool and cooking meals and cleaning the house and signing her kids up for sports and stuff like that. But this book is just about her friendship with Felix Callahan, the actor. A lot of people didn't like it very much, but I was able to connect with it and I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed it. It was great. Next we have an OTP, or one true pairing, if you don't know what that is, that you did not like. An OTP a lot of people hold that I despise. I have so many passionate feelings about this. You could just get me talking for like 10 minutes about it. And that is Gale and Katniss from the Hunger Games trilogy. I just don't like them, and I don't understand why people like them so much, because I feel like there's 3 reasons that I usually hear or sense. One is that they just like Liam Hemsworth, and so they're like, oh, he's attractive, I'll choose him. And they've seen the movies and stuff. Sorry if it like glows. I'm trying to get it not to glow. These books are really shining. Anyway, the second reason I hear a lot is that he saved her family, and so, I don't know, he owes it to her to fall in love with him, which I think is so stupid, because first of all, Peeta was in the Hunger Games with her when that was going on, so obviously Peeta couldn't do anything. And second, like, when did love become about owing it to someone? Like, oh, you saved my family, so I have to marry you. Like, no. And I hear I know a lot of people just love the friends to lovers type story. They prefer the guy who they've been friends with for a long time, and in a lot of cases I do agree with that. However, in this one, they are just too similar in the wrong ways and different in the wrong ways that they don't mesh well together, especially by the end. Like, she's been through so much and he's been through a lot, but not the same. He's not as tormented by it, and so, like, he just doesn't understand her, and he can't help her, and she, like, cares about him, but she doesn't really trust him. She doesn't really trust anybody, so I just don't like that OTP, and I don't understand why so many people are on board with that, but it's fine. Next is a popular genre that you hardly reach for, and for this one I'm going with just graphic novels or manga in general. I've tried a few graphic novels, and it just doesn't work for me. The formatting is just not my thing. Maybe someday I'll find a drive and motivation to try manga, or people will talk me into it, but I don't really like graphic novels, so I just don't feel a need to try manga because it's a similar thing. Maybe if I get enough comments below saying you need to try manga, then maybe I'll try it, but for right now, probably never really gonna reach for it. Next is a book character that everybody seems to love but you don't like. And for this one, I'm going with a character that I've mentioned before. I was going to see if I could figure out another character, and I probably could have, but I read this book series pretty recently and so it's fresh. So that is Layla, or Lila, from A Darker Shade of Magic. I feel like all her problems are caused by herself. I don't know. I just don't sympathize with her very much. Like, I just feel like you are pushing people away all the time and you expect everybody else to change for you and you won't change for anybody else. And I'll mention this in a second, but she follows a trope that I also am kind of sick of seeing, which probably doesn't help her case. So sorry if you love Lila, but I don't. Next is a popular author that you can't get into, and for this I'm going with Cassandra Clare, who wrote the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices and all those spin-off series that go along with that. I will say, when I read the first 3 Mortal Instruments books and the first 2 Infernal Devices, I enjoyed them, but I just grew up and I lost my interest in them. I read the 4th one and I was like, it's not really for me. And then Infernal Devices, I feel like I would have ended up enjoying those all the way through, but I stopped and then I had no motivation to go back and reread the first 2 because I had totally forgotten everything that happened. And now I'm just like, I just don't think I'll ever really pick up Cassandra Clare. I will say I am reading the Magisterium series, which she co-authored, and I've enjoyed those so far. Yeah, just overall, I'm just not a huge Cassie Clare fan, and that's fine. I think she's a great person, and I'm glad that so many people love her books, but it's just not. Paranormal romance and paranormal type books are just also not super my thing anyway. So, yeah. So, a popular trope that you are sick of seeing. I am going to mention 2. The first one being this is the one that Lila follows, and that is the warrior, like, I can fight with any weapon you give me and I want to pick a fight all the time type female character. I just want to see more female characters that are strong because they are wise and clever and smart and kind even. Like, I just feel like all over there's these female characters that they're like, these are strong female characters because they can fight with weapons like all the guys can. And I'm just like, why can't they? I just feel like women throughout history, I mean, obviously there have been societies that really put women down, but often they're revered for their wisdom and their goodness and their cleverness and stuff like that. And I'm not saying this has to be in every book, and I'm not saying that women should be put in this pocket either, but I just would like to see more women who are strong in that way. Especially in fantasy books. I feel like fantasy is always the swords and whatever, and then contemporaries it's more like they're able to take on their own, like, career or whatever, which is great. I think that's cool too, but especially in fantasy books, I'm just like, give me a strong-willed, clever, intelligent, kind woman. Like, let her be kind. I'm so sick of all these girls who, like, want to fight everybody they come in contact with and, like, don't trust anybody, and that's what makes them strong. Like, I'm like, why can't they be good people, and that's what makes them powerful, strong, respectable women? That's one. The other one I don't like that is in the bone season is a person who, usually it's a guy, who is like 200 years old, and he ends up falling in love with this girl who's the main character, who's like 16 or whatever, and they have a relationship and she finds a way to be immortal with him, and it's so cute. Here's my thing with that. I just feel like if a guy is that old and has seen that much and experienced that much, he's not gonna fall in love with a 16-year-old because she's so much less mature than him. And so I always feel like there's this weird, like, unbalanced relationship where, like, it's all about the physical attraction is all it is, it feels like, because it's definitely not mental, because she acts like an angsty teenager and he's like 200 years old and has seen wars and deaths and all sorts of horrible things and good things too, and has learned so much, and like he's like, oh, this girl who's 16 and has no experience in life is super attractive. Like, I don't like those love stories. I'm sick of seeing them. The only one I read very recently is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. That one did it really well. And I ended up, even though I was still a little like, I don't know how I feel about it, I felt like the main character put on enough of a maturity in a different way than the guy was mature, and so it almost made them connect better because she had a maturity beyond her years that she gained throughout the book, and he was mature in a different sense. He was experienced, but like she had a wisdom about her, and I felt like that worked fairly well together. I still wasn't like in love with the romance, but it worked better. But most of the time I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. It just feels weird, and it feels very physical. I just feel like this guy would not be attracted to her for anything beyond her looks. Next is a popular series that you have no interest in reading, and for this is one I could be swayed on, but I just have so many, this is more one I have so many books I want to read, and this is just a series that I've heard enough mixed things about that I'm just like, I just want to focus on the books that I actually want to read, and that is the Grisha Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. It makes me sad that I don't want to read this because there's spin-off series that sound really interesting, but I just don't have an interest in this series. I mean, it sounds fine, but like I said, there's just been so many mixed feelings about it, and I just have so many other books I'd rather read. So. And the last question is, most people love the books better than the movies, but what is one movie or TV show adaptation that you actually like better than the book? And this one was kind of hard because this doesn't happen to me very often, but I would say Austenland by Shannon Hale. I did really like the book. I'm not saying that I didn't like it, but I did read it after I watched the movie, and there's just a humor in the movie that couldn't be in the book. You know, romantic comedies and other comedies have these jokes and things that you can't really put in a book very well, like, because a lot of it is visual and like the way they say their lines and stuff. This one also had a backstory to one of the characters that I liked a little bit better in the movie than I did in the book. And so, again, I did really like both, but I feel like I liked the movie a little bit better. That is it for my unpopular opinions. Let me know down below some of the answers you have to some of these questions, as I would love to know. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you are interested in more content from me. I post videos every Friday on this channel. So that is it, like I said, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!